पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. By the infinite grace of Sri Ramakrishna and the Lord Krishna, we have resumed our study of the Bhagavadgita. In the last class, we started our study of the third chapter of the Gita, and we have so far studied the seventh, sixth shlokas, so we are about to commence the seventh shloka. The context is the relationship between the second chapter and the third chapter. In the second chapter, the Sankhya Yoga is explained. So, as per the popular belief, Sankhya Yoga is the yoga of knowledge, and it is true. Literally, Sankhya means the knowledge, so it is often translated. This meaning of the second chapter is Sankhya Yoga or the Jnana Yoga, as the title itself says, but it is not so. Here there are three sections in the second chapter. The first section is about the Sankhya, of course, the Atma Vichara. The second section is about the necessity of war as a duty for Arjuna. As a duty, O Arjuna, you have to do the war. This teaching is also embedded in the second chapter. And the third teaching is about the Karma Yoga. In order to prepare ourselves, our mind, our body, and our sadhana, to make the sadhana to rise to that level so that we can attain the Jnana Yoga, we will have the qualification for Jnana Yoga. One should practice Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is essential. So there are two definitions which are very useful. One is the Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. The equanimity itself is the yoga. And also Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. The efficiency of karma itself is the yoga. Though there are the definitions are interrelated, in fact the samatva itself is the efficiency. Samatva itself is what is called the kaushala here. Kaushala or the efficiency is yoga, and the samatva itself is yoga. When we read it alongside, so we can easily comprehend. So the what is called the samatva itself is the skill. So we have to maintain equanimity, sukha dukkhe same krutva, etc. The last section of the second chapter is devoted to detailed description of Sthita Prajna, the man with the steady wisdom, and he is the perfect man who had gone through the sadhana of Karma Yoga and having attained the highest pinnacle of the Jnana Yoga. So often we say, or it is described, Karma Yoga is something contradictory to Jnana Yoga, but it is not so in the Gita. Karma Yoga is a stepping stone towards the Jnana Yoga. If we have to be qualified for Jnana Yoga, we have to do Karma Yoga. Without Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga is impossible to undertake. The ultimate sadhana, ultimate stepping stone, ultimate step towards the liberation is of course the Jnana Yoga, the understanding that I am the Atman, I am the Supreme Self, but that knowledge will not dawn upon us until we purify our mind and purify our intellect. That purification is called the Chitta Shuddhi or the Sattva Shuddhi in Bhagavadgita. Sattva Shuddhi is the word we see in the later chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Sattva means your mind or the intellect. So in order to purify our mind of our egoism, so we had to purify our mind. How to purify? We had to shed our ego. We had to become selfless. We had to be completely devoted to the Lord. And we had to every work with a selfless attitude as a worship of the Lord. And that is the crux of the Karma Yoga. So the Jnana Yoga and its stepping stone, the Karma Yoga, and both are enumerated in the second chapter. So this created a confusion in the mind of Arjuna. And the very first verse of third chapter, Arjuna expresses his doubt. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. O Lord, if it is your opinion that intellectual understanding, that is what is called Sankhya or the Buddhi. Here Buddhi means discrimination, intellectual understanding. So we have to have a very clear understanding of what is Buddhi and what is discrimination or the discernment. Discernment between what is good and what is bad, and what is Atman and what is not Atman, what is reality and what is not reality. This is the real understanding. That real understanding is what is called Buddhi here. In ordinary sense, Buddhi is intellect. That intellect we have in the normal world to do things of this world. So if you want to read a book, you have to have an intellect. If you want to earn money, you have to have an intellect. If you want to pass the examination, you have to have an intellect. That is not the ordinary type of intellect which is spoken here. So in Vedanta, in our tradition, intellect is always equated to discrimination. In the modern English or in modern times, the word discrimination has got a negative annotation. That is why the discrimination word is not used and another word is used. It is called discernment. Discernment, distinguishing, separating what is good, what is bad, etc. So discernment between what is good and what is bad, what is real and what is not unreal, that is what is called Sankhya here, that is Buddhi here. If it is in your opinion, this understanding is greater than the karma. So according to Arjuna, karma is actually the normal people, what they do, that is karma. So we are not able to distinguish between what is real and not unreal, and we cannot take up the life of a mendicant or a sannyasi. So we have to continue to do karma. That karma is something inferior. Definitely it is inferior, but not karma yoga. Karma yoga is sadhana. Ordinary way of doing karma is something inferior. But Arjuna could not catch the importance, the significance of the karma yoga. Though Lord has clearly spelled out the rudiments of karma yoga in the second chapter, and he could not catch that karma yoga is meant for him who is an ajnani, who is not yet qualified for the Jnana yoga. So he according to him, what Lord meant is karma yoga is inferior and the Jnana yoga is something superior. If it is your opinion, why are you engaging me in the terrible karma? Because my karma, the duty I am going to do, duty I am supposed to do, I am being forced to do is a war. It is not an ordinary karma. It involves killing of hundreds of people and committing heinous crime. Killing or the murder is a heinous crime. That is why Arjuna qualifies his own karma, his own duty as ghore karmani. If it's karma yoga or the karma is something inferior to jnana, if it is your opinion, mata buddhihi, then why are you engaging me in this terrible battle, terrible karma? He doesn't use the word war, but he uses the word karma, terrible karma, that is battle. This is the crux of the crux of the verse number 1. In verse number 2, it is as if you are mixing up the things and you are deluding me. You are not mixing up, you are not confusing me, but yet I am getting confused. It is not your intention as a great teacher, Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. You are not supposed to confuse. You are not confusing also. But to mind, it seems as if you are confusing. Vyamishrevena vakyena buddhim mohaya siva me. You are deluding mind as if. Here iva word is used in two places. One is vyamishrena iva, as if you are giving a conflicting opinion. Your opinions are as if mixed up. You are showing the path of karma yoga, you are teaching karma yoga as well as dharya yoga. And both cannot be performed by a single person at a single instant of time. It is impossible. So when you are teaching the both paths, it is conflicting. By these conflicting words, you are confusing as if. So you are mixing or your words are conflicting as if, and also you are deluding me as if. Both are not true, because your intention is not to confuse me, but still I am not able to appreciate your words. I am not able to understand the significance of your words. That is why it is my own fault to say that you are speaking in conflicting terms. That means you are not conflicting, it is my understanding, limited understanding, that you are conflicting. That is why Arjuna itself says as if, Iva, that is very important. And your intention is not to confuse me, still I am getting confused. It seems I am getting confused. I am also not confused, but I have no other way, but unless you clarify it, what is your opinion. So, tadekam vada nischatya. What is best for me? I am not a Jnana yogi. I am just a kshatriya. I am not a sannyasi. I am a householder. What is good for me? So there is a saying in English, one's poison and another medicine or the food. So if it is a good food for a non-diabetic people or non-diabetic person, and definitely that sweet is poison for a diabetic patient. So what is poison for one may be very good for another. So here Jnana Yoga is meant for a highly qualified people. Then you tell me whether I am qualified for Jnana Yoga or the Karma Yoga, through which I can attain the immortal, through which I can attain the liberation. Yena Shreyaha aham apnuyam. Shreyaha means the ultimate good. Shreyas should be always used in the terms of moksha. There are four good or four ultimate goals of human life. It's not ultimate, goals of human life: dharma, artha and kama and moksha. Dharma is the means, dharma is not the goal. Righteousness, righteous conduct, that is the means for artha and kama. These are the material wants. We want to earn money or wealth in order to enjoy. Artha and kama are very much related. If we don't have artha or money, we cannot aspire for enjoyment. Enjoyment is possible only on getting money or the wealth. So both are necessary, both are interrelated. So we have to earn money by lawful means, and we have to enjoy only those who are sanctioned by the scriptures. That is called the kama. dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Krishna himself says, kama is that which is not in opposition with the dharma. Only through dharmic means one should try to enjoy the material wealth. That is the message of the Gita. But the ultimate good spoken of here in this shloka as Shreya is moksha. I also want to attain the moksha, highest good, that is the spiritual beatitude, spiritual liberation, and that is not possible when we hold on to dharma, artha and kama. If we utilize dharma only for artha and kama, then our scope of attaining something is very limited. So very limited to enjoying this world. But we should not be satisfied with that. We should aim for the higher goal of life. The higher goal of life is moksha. Here Shreyaha aham apnuyat, through which I can attain the Shreyas, ultimate goal, that is moksha. So what path should I choose, whether karma yoga or the jnana yoga? This is the question of Arjuna, and Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord says, Lokesmin dvividha nishta pura prokta mayanagha. There are two paths specifically carved out by me, not now, in the very beginning of the creation. Pura prokta, I have already instructed to those whom I have created. So there are two paths. So in the beginning of the Gita, Shankaracharya writes, the Lord created this world and created two sets of people. Those who follow the karma yoga or the pravritti marga, and those who follow the nivritti marga or the jnana marga. So for them, those who follow the nivritti marga, Krishna or the Lord instructed. So there is no difference between here Krishna and Vishnu. Krishna speaks as if he is Vishnu himself. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Here, at least, Krishna never identified with the mortal human being Krishna. Krishna always identifies himself as the Lord Vishnu, the Paramatman, the Bhagavan, Ishvara himself. That's why he says, I created this world. In the beginning of the creation itself, I have instructed the two paths. One is meant for the Jnana yogins, those who follow the path of renunciation, that is Sankhya Yoga or the Jnana Yoga. The second one is the path of karma. It is also called Pravritti Marga. Pravritti Marga for those who follow the path of householders and Prajapatis, etc. So he clarifies, he elucidates what are the two paths and who are qualified for those two paths. Jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. I have instructed Jnana yoga for the sake of Sankhya, those people who have followed the path of Jnana or the sannyasin, renunciates. Karma yogena yoginam, those who follow the path of the yoga. Here yoga means, we should not be confused, yoga means karma yoga. Yogina, yogin means those who are qualified to follow the path of yoga. So in fact, anybody can practice karma yoga. Those who are householders, those who are in the world are better qualified to follow the karma yoga. And the Lord continues, these are all just recollection of what we have already studied in the previous classes. Na karmanam anarambhat naishkarmyam purushoshnate. This is a very interesting and a very revolutionary teaching of the Lord Krishna. This kind of teaching you will not find in the regular Vedantic text. If you read a regular Vedantic text like Viveka Chudamani, it is often instructed one should shun karma and take the path of exclusive renunciation or the sannyasa. That is called the Vedantic way of living, the complete renunciation, neti neti marga. But here, for the ordinary people like us, Krishna says, without commencing karma, karmanam anarambhat, by non-performance of the karma. That means we have to start our sadhana, if at all, if we want to attain moksha, if we want to have the spiritual upliftment, we have to begin with the beginning. This is the phrase used by most revered Swami Yatishwaranandaji Maharaj in the meditation and spiritual life, the magnum opus of the spiritual life and the meditation, earlier published by this very mutt, Bangalore mutt. Now it is published from the Madras mutt. So he always used to say, begin from the beginning. Don't read books and imagine that you are a great jnani or the great yogi and start practicing hours of meditation or hours of study or just renunciation, which is fit for only those who are of higher caliber. So where we are, at what stage we are, we have to first know. So we are in the world and we are entangled by this world and we are in the midst of hundreds of work. We have hundreds of duties to perform. We have duty towards our family, we have duty towards our society, and we have commitment to society, commitment to family. So we have to start from the beginning. The beginning is karma yoga. That is what we have to understand here. So we have to start with the karma yoga. So without performing the karma yoga, naishkarmyam purushaha na ashnute. So we have to have a clear concept of what is naishkarmya also. Naishkarmya is literally translated as a state where there is no action is possible. Suppose if a man is fully engrossed in the God, in meditation, for him no action is possible. It is a natural state. It is not an artificial state where one sits idle in the whole house and doesn't want to work. It is not the idle state. The difference Lord shows in the succeeding slokas. Naishkarmya is often very nicely, beautifully translated by Tapasyanandaji Maharaj, one of the translators of this great word, egoless, actionless. Suppose if I shut the ego, if I continue to do work, that is called Naishkarmya. So the ego, if we do actions with my ego, ahankara, that is an ordinary karma. If I can do work without ego, no agency, I am not the doer, this is Prakriti, this is nature is doing, or a Lord himself is doing. Lord himself is making me do that egoless actionless state. It is not just passivity, it is not just doing, it is not just getting, moving away from the karma or not doing anything, sitting idle. It is not that. That actionless should come naturally. So first there will be that trees will bear the what you call the flowers, and flowers will lead into fruits. Without flower you cannot imagine the fruits. It is a mango season. First we have the flower and then the fruits. So flowering state is what is called the karma yoga. So through karma yoga we have to aspire to reach the state of actionlessness state, where the actions naturally drop off. Sri Ramakrishna beautifully puts, if a girl is pregnant, her mother-in-law says, do less work. So as the pregnancy advances, she will do less and less work until she gets the baby or she gives birth to a baby. When then for few days or 1 month or so, she will not do any work. So it is something very natural. So one who is established in Naishkarmya must have done the work with a detached spirit, karma yoga, as a preliminary discipline. So this is very easy from karma yoga to akarma state, karma yoga to Naishkarmya state, without performing karma yoga, one cannot even dream of the Naishkarmya. For what about the saints like Ramana Maharshi, who are born ascetics, who are born Jnana yogis? The Shastra says perhaps they have done karma yoga in their previous birth. That is the only answer. So, as far as we are concerned, karma yoga is the only discipline we have to practice here. So, karma yoga has got dimensions. Karma yoga is not just doing work with detachment, doing work as the offering to the Lord. So we read in today itself, Yajnartam karmanaham. Yajna means the Lord Himself. One should do karma for the sake of the Lord only. So this is very clear. Na karmanam anarambhat naishkaryam purushotnate. One cannot dream of rising to the highest state of actionlessness, egolessness, being merged in Atman, or in the words of Gita itself, Atmaiva Ratihi, Atmarati, Atmakrida, these are the words used in the Upanishad. So Bhagavadgita takes these ideas from the Upanishad, Atma, Atmarati. So one should have a happiness, one will get that joy out of Atman alone. That state can be got, can be attained only by the performance of the action. And the second word is also very important. Nacha sanyasanadeva siddhim samadhigacchati. Here sanyasana means mere giving up the works. So when we hear the words, we get sometimes confused, or we are used to some traditional, or we are already hooked up to some meaning. Our own mind will act according to this. If we hear sannyasa, we imagine sannyasins. Sannyasa is not that. Sannyasa means mere giving up. So when we hear sannyasa, oh, that state of being a sannyasi is a sannyasa. But in Sanskrit, sannyasana means just renunciation, giving up. So by merely giving up, nacha sanyasadadeva siddhim samadhigacchati. One cannot aspire to get the perfection. What is that siddhi? Siddhi is what is already spoken of the Lord as the Naishkarmya. The Naishkarmya itself is the siddhi. Here what is spoken of as the perfection, that Naishkarmya itself is the siddhi. So the two ideas are very important. We have to take away important takeaways in this shloka. One is, without performing the action, one cannot attain the Naishkarmya, the highest state in spiritual life. By merely giving up the work, one cannot attain that perfection. That is the meaning. Now the fifth shloka says, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarma krutu karyatehi avashak karma sarvaha prakriti jairgunaihi. So these shlokas are interrelated. So the previous shloka says one should perform karma. Without performing karma, one cannot attain the spiritual perfection by merely giving up the karma. Why it is so? In Sanskrit it is called hetu, the reason. The reason why one should take up the karma in the beginning, one should never attempt giving up the karma. One should not straight away go to that state, or just even to practice that actionless. It is because one cannot remain without karma even for a second. It is the characteristic of ordinary people. You cannot relate this, or you cannot connect these ideas to the perfected souls like Sri Ramakrishna or Ramana Maharshi, etc. Because the Bhagavad Gita is meant for all of us who are very commoners, who are struggling in this world, how to attain the spiritual perfection by struggling in this world, by performing duties in this world. Gita is meant to teach that. Kaschit kshanamapi, not even a second. Tishtati, one will remain, one cannot remain. Akarmakut, by not doing the karma. Because as Swami Vivekananda explains this in the very beginning of Karma Yoga, he says karma doesn't mean just actions. Whatever we do is karma. Even breathing is karma, moving is karma, walking is karma, talking is karma, everything is karma. Why Vivekananda took pains to explain the karma in this manner? It is something natural. It is because traditional understanding of karma is yajna, or the sacrifice. Traditional meaning of karma is not just mere action, any action for that matter. Karma means yajna, karma means sacrifice. Even sacrifice with a desire. Action with a desire or the motive is what is called karma in the traditional manner. It is this karma, the kamya karma, the actions with motive, that is opposed by Shankaracharya. That is why when we say Shankaracharya opposes karma, what Shankaracharya condemns is the motive behind the karma. If you have desire for only money or the heavens, money or the wealth in this world, or the heavens in the other world, iha and the parama, iha and the apara, para and apara, iha and the apara. In this world, we want enjoyment of the wealth or the different enjoyment, different desires we have to fulfill. This is called aihika. And also, in the olden days, they used to believe that Swarga is an abode or the residence for kind of intense desires. Those desires you cannot fulfill in this world. We can fulfill in the heavens. And even to desire that is condemned. There are some karmas which will give, which will get us heaven, through which we can fulfill some desires. There you can enjoy intensely than we are doing now in this world. And also there are some other karma where we want to enjoy different kinds of desires or the fulfillment of desires that is available in this world. So if you do karma for only that sake, if your canvas or the compass of karma is limited, scope of karma is only limited to that, then that is what is condemned by the Shankaracharya. That's why Swami Vivekananda gave a more wide definition, more liberal definition of karma when he says every action is karma. And this word in the Gita, jatu tishtati akarma krutu, collaborates the definition of Swami Vivekananda. When Krishna says one cannot remain even for a second without karma, in the Gita, Krishna is collaborating what Swami Vivekananda said. Karyatehi avashak karma. Once again the reason why I cannot remain without a second, without doing any karma. Because you are being compelled, you are being instigated by your own prakriti. Prakriti jair gunaihi, the gunas which are born out of prakriti. These are all I have already explained in the previous classes. Prakriti means the nature, very nature. Prakritija guna. Gunas are the qualities born out of Prakriti, means sattva and rajas and tamas. So we are instigated. We are as if are bound by the gunas or the qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas. So these very sattva, rajas and tamas compel us to do an action, one action or another, every instant of our life, as if we are avasha, we have no freedom at all. So without any freedom, always we are doing one action or the other, compelled by or instigated by sattva, rajas and the tamas, which are the qualities born out of prakriti. And Prakriti is gunas, and gunas are the Prakriti. There is absolutely no difference it. Suppose there is a sugar powder, and the same sugar powder is used to prepare some dolls or sugar blocks. Absolutely, there is no difference between sugar blocks and the sugar. In the same way, Prakriti nature and the Prakriti Jair Gunaihi, gunas coming out of the Prakriti. Or in fact, the more correct definition is, correct understanding is, gunas are the constituents of the Prakriti. So, Prakriti acts in the form of the gunas, sattva, rajas, and the tamas, etc. Now we have another shloka, beautiful shloka. Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharasya uchyate. So the question arises, when we are all bound by the gunas of the Prakriti, sattva, rajas, tamas, when we have to do karma every minute, we have no escape at all. What should be our duty now? What should we aim for? What is our sadhana? And Krishna gives two instances. One is a very common instance. A person goes and sits somewhere in the Himalayas, in an ashrama. He has no preparation of karma yoga at all. Karmendriyani sanyamya. He is trying to control karmendriyas. So we have to have a very clear understanding of what is karmendriya and what is jnanendriya. Both are indriyas, the senses. What are the senses? First of all, what are the indriyas? Indriyas are those which help us to interact with the outside world. Those are the indriyas. So what is jnanendriya? Knowledge senses, senses of the knowledge. So in order to get the knowledge of the word, we use some indriyas. Suppose if I want to have the knowledge of the sound, I use the ear. That is shrotra. Shrotra is an indriya. If I want to have the knowledge of the rupa, the form, I use what is that? Eyes. Eyes is an indriya. So eyes, ears, etc. are called the jnanendriya. So what is karmendriya? Which I use for walking and standing and moving about, all other activities of the body does, that is called the karmendriya. And this person, very ordinary person, wants to become a sannyasi, and we receive number of applications from youngsters to become sannyasis. Swamiji, I want to embrace monastic life. And in simple words, they come, I want to become a monk. So what is monkhood? Who is a monk? If I question them, they will be clueless. Oh, I do not know. You have to guide me. So, karmendriyani sanyamya. Suppose a man comes to my ashram, stays here for few hours or few days, and he is able to control his karmendriya. He cannot go out of the gate. He cannot move about. He cannot go and watch whatever the worldly people watch. These are all controlling of this karmendriyas. This is very easy to do. Karmendriyani samyamya. But manasa smaran aste. I am not able to go out of the ashrama, but the person who resides here or who stays here, we come here for 1 or 2 hours to hear the lecture or to participate in the prayer. Our mind will be thinking about the dish we are preparing in the kitchen. So we have left it in the kitchen dish, it is not yet prepared. So I had to go and finalize it, put some salt and all that. So when Arati is going on, our mind will be thinking about that. A famous incident in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, Rani Rasamani, a great devotee of Kali, a great social, in that age he is a social reformer also, and philanthropist and social worker, and she came to Kali temple. She herself built the Kali temple. She is the owner of the Kali temple. and Sri Ramakrishna was singing a song in front of her. Actually, it is she who requested Sri Ramakrishna to sing a song, and she was singing a song on Kali. Suddenly, Sri Ramakrishna stopped his song and slapped on the cheek of the Rani Rasamani. And everybody was astonished. What is happening? This fellow is an ordinary priest, a Brahmin, a poor, a beggar, is slapping the owner, the rich lady, the Rani. She got the title of Rani by none other than the British government. Rani, she is slapping. Then Rani understood, because Rani was thinking about a legal case. Of course, she has so many properties, lands, etc. There will be some cases pending in the court. She was thinking about one of them. And Sri Ramakrishna rebuked her. Even here, that same thought. So this is the state Sri Krishna is describing in this verse. Rani Rasamani has controlled her karmendriyas, but she is something, the worldly matters or the worldly things in her mind. Manasa smaran aste. Manasa smaran, about the worldly things. That means she has not controlled the jnanendriyas. She has controlled only karmendriyas, that's all. Jnanendriya means you have to control the mind also. If you control the mind by controlling the jnanendriyas, that is the real control. Just sitting in one place controlling the karmendriyas is not the real control. Indriyarthan vimudhatma manasa saran indriyatman. What he is thinking of? Arthan. Artha means objects. So if I see something, that something is artha. If I see a beautiful scenery, that beautiful scenery is artha of the indriya, of the eye. That's all. If I hear a beautiful music, that music is the artha, the object of the sense called the ear. So indriyarthan manasasmaran. So when I am sitting in the Vesper service or Aratrikam, hearing the wonderful music, Khandana Bhava, I am enjoying very much. But in the mind, I am thinking what I have already seen in the market or somewhere else. That is called Indriyartha. Where I am thinking, I am not actually seeing or enjoying, I am actually not hearing, but I am thinking in the mind. That is what is called Indriyarthan Smaran. Where Smaran? Of course in the mind. Where you will remember, where you will think. Mind is the thinking faculty. So in Vedanta Sara or the Vedantic text we have Sankalpa Vikalpatmakaha Manaha, where the function of deliberation, Sankalpa, Vikala, this is that, this is not this. Oh, this is good. After some time mind thinks, this is not good. That kind of pros and cons, good, bad. So all this, the function itself is called the mind. We often mistake. Thinking happens in the mind. Thinking doesn't happen in the mind. Thinking itself is the mind. The function of thinking, the faculty of thinking is itself is the mind. So there is a vast difference. We think, I think in the mind, I determine in the mind. It is not like that. Antaranga is a common generic name used. In the Antaranga itself, there are 4 faculties. If this Antaranga deliberates pros and cons, that is called the mind or the manas. If Antaranga comes to a decision, oh, this is good, this is what I am going to do, or this is a good dish, this is what I am going to eat, then it is called buddhi. Then where that memories come from, that is storage of the old impression, that is also a faculty, that is called chitta. And for all these functions, the backdrop is I think, I recollect, I decide. That I is always there in the behind. You cannot think without first having that I do that work, I eat, etc. That I is also a function of the antakarana, the internal organ, that is called the ahankara. So in antaranga has got four faculties, that is mana, buddhi, chitta and ahankara. So they are all functions, they are not components of the mind. So that person is thinking in the mind, and such a person is called mithyachar, mudhatma. Mudhatma means highly deluded person. So mudha comes from moha. Moha means delusion. So if I see a person, I take him for someone else. Oh Raju, you are that. Oh, I am not Raju, I am Ramu. Oh, then I am deluded. If you have jaundice, you see yellow everywhere, you are deluded. So Vedanta say we have jaundiced intellect. It is all Brahman everywhere. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Aham Brahma, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. What is Aham Brahma? When I see myself everywhere, that is called Aham Brahma. You cannot have Brahmic experience in your body and oh, I have a body, something which is within the body, that is Brahman. No, it is not like that. Because in the Brihadaranyaka, the word comes, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma, immediately follows by another phrase. One who knows I am Brahman becomes everything. Sarvam abhavat. Become everything is the state of the Brahman. So everything is Brahman, but I see different creatures here, mountains here, I see the whole world here, material world here. Then what is that material world? It is something superimposed on the Brahman. That means I am not seeing Brahman, I am seeing only delusion. The stark example, without which you cannot study Vedanta, is the rope and the snake. What actually present is the rope, and the snake is superimposed upon that, and I see snake, not the rope. That means I have a deluded vision. So vimudhatma. Vimudha means he is completely deluded, because he is thinking of worldly things. He is full of desires. He has not controlled his mind, he has not controlled his jnanendriyas, but only has succeeded temporarily controlling his karmendriya. I am using the word temporarily, deliberately, because after 2 days he will run away from ashrama. He may be sitting in the ashrama as a guest, he may be staying, but he cannot stay for more than 1 week or so, because full of desires. We come to ashrama, after some 3-4 hours, we we will go out and drink a coffee at least somewhere. Because we are not able to control even karmendriyas, isn't it? So, let alone the jnanendriya. That is why Krishna condemns such a person as vimudhatma, that is a deluded person. Why he is deluded? There is another reason. Because he thinks he has controlled mind. He has not controlled mind, but he is thinking of the worldly thing. He has not attained what is called antarangika sannyasa, real sannyasa. So Ramakrishna makes a distinction, bhashya sannyasa and antarangika sannyasa. So a real sannyasi has both bhashya as well as antarangika. A grihasthas have to practice what is called antarangika sannyasa in the mind. So in Ramakrishna says, antarangika sannyasa is better than the bhashya sannyasa. You may not pretend yourself to be a sannyasi, but be real sannyasi. Control yourself, control your passion, be desireless, and in outside act like a normal person. That is the real sannyasa. So that is why Krishna says he is mithya mudhatma. Mudhatma, he says, and also condemns him as hypocrite. Such a mudhatma, such a deluded person is called by hypocrite. Who has called it? Those who know the difference. Because we do not know the difference. Who is pretending, who is not pretending, who is hypocrite, who is real sannyasi, we do not know. Sometimes the hypocrite sannyasis are more famous, well known than the real sannyasis, because people are unable to distinguish who is a real sannyasi, who is not a real sannyasi. We have the glorious example of sannyasi, a great sannyasi before us, Sri Ramakrishna. Who is a real sannyasi? Oh, one should have qualities of Sri Ramakrishna: renunciation, jnana, bhakti, vairagya, and such a person is real sannyasi. But Sri Ramakrishna did not wear a kashaya vastra at all. But he did not want to do it. He did not wear sannyasa vastra at all. A real sannyasi need not have external sign at all. So, such a vimudhatma is called the wise people, for those who know the distinction between a real sannyasi and one who is doing only pretension. Such is called mithyachari. It's a very strong word. A hypocrite. He pretends to be a very wise man. He is a very dullard fellow. He doesn't know anything about the subject, but he is giving a long lecture, and such a person is called the hypocrite. So we know in the world we come across many hypocrites. Now we understand who is the dull person and who is the mudhatma or the deluded person, and deluded person is called the hypocrite by the wise people. In contrast to that, what we should aim is to control jnanendriyas, not the karmendriyas. We can go everywhere. We can go to our offices, we can do our work, we can go to market and purchase vegetables and the stationery or the supplies we want to in our house, for our house. We can do everything. Our sannyasis do here. They go to market, vegetable market, we have to purchase rice, we have to run the show here, we have a kitchen. Sadhu sannyasis are fed here. So our sannyasis do all kinds of work. What is the difference between action of a sannyasi and action of a householder? There is no limitation, there is no confinement for karmendriyas at all. So, karmendriyaihi karma yoga we had to do. Krishna says beautifully here, yastu indriyani manasa niyamya arabhate Arjuna karmendriyaihi karma yogam arabhate asaktasya vishishyate. So, indriyani manasa niyamya, beautiful words, easily understandable. What kind of indriyas? In the previous case, that person tried to control what is called karmendriyas. Here, the real karma yogi should control his jnanendriyas. What he sees, what he hears, etc. He should have discrimination or discernment. Because whatever we see, it will create an impression in our mind. Whatever we hear, it will create an impression in our mind. And whatever we touch, it will have an impression in our mind. So, we have to use very judiciously our jnanendriyas, because every input from the jnanendriyas or the senses will leave a mark on our mind. That is why Krishna says here, yastu vanhu manasa indriyani niyamya, where we should control the senses. You cannot say senses, hey senses, you control yourself, because senses do not have that controlling power at all. You have to control your indriyas in the mind. In the mind. You see a very interesting factor. He is thinking about the worldly objects or worldly pleasures in the mind, the deluded person. Here also, thinking about the worldly objects is also done in the mind. Controlling of the indriyas are also happened in the mind. Everything is mind. Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Mind is the cause for bandhana. So what is bandhana? We have already read. Controlling only karmendriyas, if you go on thinking about the pleasures of the world, that is called bandhana. But instead, if we can control our jnanendriyas, what we hear, what we touch, what we think, etc., karmendriyaihi karma yogam. We have to make the best use of our karmendriyas, not to just earn money, not to trouble others, not to simply engage in one action or the another. We have to use our hand, our feet, our talk, our organ of speech, etc., to perform what is called karma yoga. Karmendriyaihi karma yogam. This is a very, very important word, important section of this chapter. Our karmendriyas should be utilized to practice karma yoga. How to do it? This is the subject of this chapter. Next word itself say how to do it. This is what we are going to study in this chapter. Use your karmendriyas for karma yoga, at the same time control your jnanendriyas in the mind, control your desires, control your experience of the world. Don't run like a horse after the senses, after the sense objects. And such a person, asaktaha, he is real detached person, unattached. He is not the one who is sitting idle and not using karmendriya and using his mind to think all sorts of nonsense. He is not to be called detached. He is very much attached. Swami Vivekananda, if you want to understand this karma yoga section, you have to read Karma Yoga by Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda says, suppose there is a king ruling over the kingdom. He is the owner of hundreds and thousands of acres of land, and he has plenty of money, gold in his treasury. He may be completely detached. He may be a sannyasi in disguise also. But there may be a beggar living under the tree, full of desires. You see, the same example. Just example of these slokas. Beautiful illustration. Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga is the best interpretation of Lord Krishna's Karma Yoga of Bhagavadgita. Such a person is asakta. So you have to be very careful with this word. Sakta means attachment. Sakti means attachment. Asakti means non-attachment. But in Kannada and other languages, we use asakti. Once again, it is attachment. We have to be extremely careful. Asakti means attachment. Asakti means non-attachment. Sakti means once again attachment. This is a very tricky word in Sanskrit. Here, asaktaha, one who is non-attached. Non-attachment doesn't come from not doing the work. Non-attachment comes from doing the work with a detached spirit. How to work with detached spirit? By maximum utilization of our karmendriyas, and how to control the jnanendriyas in our mind at the same time. That there lies the secret of karma yoga. That secret is being instructed, taught by Krishna in this beautiful, wonderful teaching of Karma Yoga, which we are going to continue in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishnarpanamastu.